to go over our whole roadmap with you today and talk about what you can expect from this first phase. If you have any questions throughout this AMA, please leave them in the comments from this post and we'll get to as many as we can at the end. Today, I am joined by our CEO and co-founder, Sean Wren.
Hey everyone, I'm Sean.
Thank you, Sean. Our AI product lead, James.
Hey guys, thanks for joining. Great to meet you.
And our blockchain and protocol product lead, Jesse.
Hey everybody, great to have you here.
Awesome. Now, for anyone joining us for the first time, Sean, I'd like you to explain what is Sahara AI and how exactly does SIWA fit into our vision of building this open and equitable infrastructure for AI development.
Thanks, Jules. Welcome everyone. Excited to be sharing our launch and all of the updates here. Really, Sahara's mission is to accelerate an AI-driven future, right? So what is AI-driven future? Just very briefly, right? We imagine a future where you don't need to actually know about programming languages or using these customized apps to interact with the informations or the other peoples, right? You can actually just naturally talk to and interact with an AI that really can empower efficient and innovative process of user-generated contents, right? And this is a new paradigm that could be enabled for various verticals and use cases. So Sahara AI is trying to give access and resource to all these great opportunities of an AI-driven future by building a full-stack AI native blockchain platform where everyone on any chain can create, contribute to, and monetize their AIs. And in this whole picture, SIWA serves as the first public gateway to the Sahara blockchain. And Sahara blockchain is basically the foundational infrastructure layer that is purpose-built to allow anyone to do registration, licensing, and monetizations of their AI access, right, such as data sets and models. And this is a process that is entirely transparent and verifiable on chain using our blockchain protocols. So then SIWA testnet will allow developers and then contributors and any other users to explore and validate all these core protocols ahead of the mainnet of our Sahara blockchain. Yeah, giving back to Jules.
Thank you, Sean. So you kind of covered this. I'd love to know, Jesse, there seems to be some confusion sometimes in the community with this release of SIWA. What is, SIWA? What exactly is the Sahara blockchain? Could you go a step deeper and really explain how SIWA connects to the Sahara blockchain and how all of this leads to the mainnet launch?
Yeah, sure, Jules. Thanks for asking that. It's really important for us to clarify that. So the Sahara blockchain is the core infrastructure that we're building. It's a purpose-built L1 that's designed specifically to support our decentralized AI economy. So it's being optimized for registering, licensing, monetizing AI assets, things like data sets, models, and agents. And so that's the underlying, base layer that we're developing. And SIWA testnet is our first public instance of this blockchain. So it's an EVM compatible testnet. And it's the first sort of public access point into the Sahara blockchain ecosystem. And so you can think of it as sort of like the initial on-ramp to where developers, contributors, and partners can start to test drive the Sahara protocols, start to sort of explore the different mechanics and help us, refine our system ahead of our mainnet launch. So on SIWA, what you're able to do is initially start to interact with our global asset registry. You can upload and register data sets and mint ownership NFTs that represent ownership of data. And you can start to begin to form the attribution of how you're training AI assets using some of our tagging system, like trained on derived from tags. And in the near future, which we can get into a little bit more when we cover the roadmap, but we'll be able to do things like create license policies for your assets, set up royalty streams, and even deploy on-chain agents. So SIWA is really the initial test environment for the Sahara blockchain, and it's sort of it's a testing ground and an opportunity for our community to start to give us feedback on our application layer as well as our blockchain protocols.
Great breakdown. Thank you, Jesse. So it sounds like we're starting with data. Sean, why start with data? What makes data set ownership and attribution the logical first step for this ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, I think a good analogy here would be think about uh, your human brain is the AI, and what is powering that? It's food, right? It's the energy coming from the food, right? And I think that's pretty much what data is for AI systems, right? No matter we're talking about an agent or talking about an application that we see these days that you use on your phone, data powers all of the AI systems. But then where does these contributors of the data get in return when they are using the data to power the AI system, which creating all sorts of revenues and benefits, right? Today, contributors rarely receive credits or compensation. So I think that's like the one of the biggest pain points we see when we're starting Sahara AI. So we really want to create a sort of end-to-end user journey where when data gets created and accumulated and sort of iterated, we have this provenance layer that can be used to trace the ownership and the contributions throughout the data accumulation process. And then these trace can be used for the downstream value capture, right? Think about when this data sets has been used to fine tune the model to become a powerful specialized model for various use cases, or when this data was merged into a retrieval augmented framework to build an agent that can do personalized recommendations and agentic search. All these applications start getting people's usage, getting paid from the usage, and those money is supposed to be flowed back to all of the data contributors. And this can only be done in an autonomous way and transparent way if we have this ownership and attribution trace. And that's what the Sahara um, um, blockchain protocols and the blockchain network is trying to power. Simply put, if you can uh, record and prove who created the input, right, you can share the value of the outputs. I think that's a great principle for trying to achieve here, starting with the data.
Thanks, Sean. Jesse, could you speak a little bit about what makes our protocols different from what's already being attempted in Web3?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jules. So I'd say like a lot of the protocols in the space, whether they're focused on data marketplaces or oracles or different sort of, registry layers, they've kind of stopped at the surface level where they allow you to sort of hash a file and upload like a metadata pointer. They don't, I think, really go as deep as what we're doing with Sahara, sort of creating this connective tissue that allows you to track not only like how the data is used, but also helping you enforce sort of revenue sharing policies for downstream reuse for creators and builders. So, what we're doing is, I think, really fundamentally different because it's actually creating like this whole end-to-end framework, everything from, how do data sets, how do contributors contribute to data sets, all the way to how those get embedded into agents and creating this full end-to-end monetization protocol. So we're not just creating this sort of on-chain registry. We're creating, a full stack system that handles the registration of data and models, as well as agents, attribution tagging that allow you to track the provenance of those assets, and then a suite of smart contract tools that allow you to enforce licensing terms and also apply sort of royalty policies. And then staking pools, or what we call vaults, that allow you to actually stake contribution NFTs and earn sort of passive revenue streams, and all that flows back to your your account basically automatically. And then we're also creating like interoperability with different types of components like MCP servers, and how do you track all of the assets that compose an agent. So I'd say like the key difference between Sahara and other protocols in this space right now is really the depth and the enforceability, because really like tokenization is really just the beginning of what we're trying to achieve here, and it's what people will be able to access initially through our sort of beta release on SIWA, which is launching. But what we're creating is much bigger. It gives creators the tools to not only like register but also earn, control, and protect their AI assets on chain.
I love it. Well said. So a lot of what we're building obviously has this on-chain component. Interacting with this on-chain component right now is through our UI during this first phase, right? James, could you tell us a bit about how that works? What's the process for uploading a data set? What formats do we support? What does a successful submission look like?
Yeah, Jules. So when you log into our system, which has been approved to get on, you can upload through our developer platform. Right now, the data sets that we're supporting are JSON, CSV, or text files. We have a UI that walks the user through the step of how to upload the data, the metadata, and then how do we figure out if it's structured, labeled, diverse, and valuable for training and evaluation.
Awesome. Yeah, it's super easy. I've done it several times already. And if anybody else hasn't done it yet, definitely recommend going. You can do it in like 2 seconds if you already have the data set. Like it doesn't take that long. You guys, you've built a really amazing product, really easy to use.
Thanks.
I think, yeah. I think one question that keeps getting asked though is because we're uploading data sets, could you clarify maybe Jesse, what is actually stored on chain versus off chain during this registration process?
Yeah, yeah. So, one of the key design, decisions of our system is, to obviously avoid storing raw data on chain, for a couple of reasons. Like one is the cost and the scalability. Storing multi-gig data sets on chain is not a viable approach. And also, more importantly, we want to allow for sort of selective disclosure, so that data can be made private, gated, or selectively licensed without it having to be fully publicly written to the chain. So when you're uploading the data set, it's not the raw data itself that's being written on chain. That's stored off chain, via our platform. And then on chain, what we do store is like the metadata itself. So it includes like the format and the data domain and the licensing intent of the data set, and it creates a cryptographic hash of that data set. And then also, the attributions that sort of describe the relationships between other data sets and how they're being incorporated into, or how they've been remixed by the user, is also being written on chain. And so this is all encoded into an ERC-721 token that represents ownership of that particular asset. And so when you register your data, you're basically creating this token that represents all of the metadata, but not necessarily all of the data contained therein. So all of that gets written to the Sahara Global Registry, and that sort of serves as the authoritative on-chain source of truth for all of the AI assets in the ecosystem. And it's what also allows you to sort of query and trace all of the remixes and asset lineage, and also the basis for like the licensing and the royalty enforcement.
Awesome. And from a product perspective, James, what kind of data sets exactly are we hoping contributors will register?
So obviously, this phase of us is getting us to the point of building out the AI tools, which is for model training, fine tuning, and evaluation. So the types of data sets that we're looking for are very high quality, diverse, and domain specific data sets. These could be Web 2 and Web 3 domains. And we like to place an emphasis on underrepresented or high impact areas for our users to be uploading data sets.
Awesome. And what exactly makes a strong data set? Are there any benchmarks, any expectations?
Yeah, so we like structured, labeled, diverse, and valuable for training or evaluation. So those are the types of data sets that we're looking for. They must be original or properly attributed within the upload process, and they should contain enough high quality, diverse examples to be meaningful for training or evaluation.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Sean, do you have anything to add to that? I know you've been you've been developing AI for a while, so you're very familiar with data sets and what makes a good and bad data set.
Yeah, totally. I mean, first of all, I mean, it's just like I'm using food as analogy of data for AI systems, like food for human brains, right? It's a bit in a very similar way. Like you like some dishes, you don't like some dishes, right? You have your own preferences, right? A person might be um, powering power up really well by one type of food, but not by the other type of food. I think the same thing applies to data sets, right? Um, let's say today, if I'm building a personalized assistant for myself that reply emails for me to all of my for the entire mailbox that I'm managing. Um, I don't need emails that are written by other people's, right? I most likely just need emails that's written by myself, especially the good emails that I've flagged out. I think it's a good representation of myself responding to people that capture my knowledge, capture my style, capture my tone, and so on. Um, so a good data set is therefore really customized and sometimes personalized to the specific use case and application. So that said, uh, it's oftentimes we need to think about this as like conversations between the demand side and supply side, right? The demand side might be looking for a particular data set. They have all sort of specifications and criteria, and the supply side, if they happens to own a data set that fits all those like checklist, that's perfect. We successfully find the sort of a match between the supply and demand. But if that kind of data set doesn't exist at all in the market these days, then we can put incentives from the demand side to request for data sets that satisfy their needs, and that's where this data service platform product fits in the space. Basically, we see that the data service platform, and generally speaking, Sahara AI platform is a place where we can bridge people for the needs of good data sets and also help them satisfy the request of data sets uh, and therefore to really accelerate the development of AIs for different use cases and verticals.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. So we've talked quite a bit about data sets and that aspect of SIWA. Now, SIWA is more than just a one-off release, right? It's part of this larger phase rollout, and each phase introduces new primitives to support attribution, revenue sharing, and this progressive decentralization. Jesse, can you walk us through the full roadmap from phase one to mainnet?
Yeah. So what we're going live with now with this initial release of CUI is the dataset registration, the on-chain ownership token minting, the ERC-721 token, and the ability to index the data set metadata on-chain. And so this is like creating like a precursor to what we're kind of calling our attribution and royalty graphs. So this is really about like bootstrapping like the base layer of provenance on our blockchain and creating that sort of base layer of traceability and laying the groundwork for monetization. So phase two is going to be releasing our licensing protocols. So the ability to license both data sets and agents, and then creating what we call contribution NFTs, which allow you to basically stake your contribution NFT and have licensing and royalty flows routed to your account. So think of this as like an on-chain payment flow or royalty streaming system that's going to be released in phase two. And so the protocol, on top of that base layer, Provenance is then going to be upgraded to have sort of monetization logic, where contributors can start to actually set pricing for their data sets and their agents, and set various different types of licensing policies, whether it's commercial, non-commercial, remixability, and then they can eventually begin to start earning passively from the usage of their assets. Um, then after that, we're going to start to open the participation in the network to be more permissionless. We're looking to basically fully open source our protocols. And we're going to have also the ability for people to deploy agents on chain and have basically full composable usage licenses in place in the next phase. Um, and so on top of agent tokenization, there's also going to be a move towards a more decentralized protocol where we're going to actually be fully open sourcing our protocols, where people can start to contribute to that. People that are in the ecosystem can contribute to the protocols, and also they can start to deploy their own assets using a CLI tool rather than going through our front end if they don't want to. And then from there we're going to start to sort of build out the functionality around our agent tokenization, so support for model context protocol MCP servers, and full kind of multi-agent workflows. And so that's the sort of initial phases of rollout, the 4 phases of rollout here. The end game that we're really working towards with Sahara Protocol and Sahara Blockchain is like a fully composable AI economy. And so, by the end of our initial testnet leading into mainnet, developers will be able to have full licensing and royalty capabilities for data sets and agents. Monetize their assets. Whether you're an annotator, data labeler, agent developer, or even infrastructure provider, we're going to have protocols that allow people to get rewarded for the things that they're helping us build and the things that they're building on chain. So that's the initial view. And yeah, in terms of timing around mainnet, we are looking at sort of Q3, maybe early Q4. But that's still TBD.
Excellent. In short, we have a lot coming out, and it's all coming out very soon. It's really exciting. We have a stacked next few months, and I'm really excited for everything that's coming out, and I hope you all are too. Thank you, Jesse. So that's just with SIWA and like what's coming out with SIWA, which is a lot. But we also have our broader stack, right? Data services platform, our AI developer platform, our AI marketplace. Can you, Sean, give us a high level of that full stack and how those all interoperate with each other?
Sure. Sure thing. Sorry. Let me know if my Wi-Fi connection is
Oh,
better.
that's a lot better.
Just switch it. Awesome. Yeah. I like to. The great thing is you guys want to check out our blog post. We have a really nice sort of AI ecosystem block that just came out thanks to Jules' great effort here. Like it's really nice visualizations of what I'm gonna talk about, but I will give you like a verbal version of it. I see this whole stack of Sahara AI as like 2 major layers. Underneath is this Sahara infra layer, which consists of apparently the Sahara blockchain and its access protocols that's in charge of all of the major features like access, registration, ownership, attribution, licensing configurations, and revenue sharing mechanisms. And this is basically our CR testnet launch, what it tries to cover and try to achieve with the roadmap that Jesse just shared about. And on top of the blockchain and protocol layer, we are also actively building this what we call AI execution protocol layer, which is trend agnostic. And the purpose of this AI execution protocol is really to bridge the off-chain AI compute, such as model inferences, model storage, model training down the road, and its verifications and the proof of those execution steps with the on-chain components, right? For example, how do we verify this is the right model that you are calling, and this is the right kind of execution steps that you are actually performing on the CPUs and GPUs, and we generate those proof in a very compact form using down the road the trusted execution environment based workflow, and then we push those proofs onto the blockchain. So we have the entire trace of the contributions of what happened for the AI execution. So that basically both the execution protocol of AI and the blockchain and access protocol form the infrastructure layer of Sahara platform. And we are building on top of this layer what we call the application layer, and this is where all of the user-facing products you guys have been playing with happens, right? Sahara platform are building a suite of flagship applications on this layer, including the data service platform, which many of you are familiar with. It's a distributed platform for AI data collection, curation, and labeling. And now you start seeing more of the features coming from our AI developer platform, which aiming to become a one-stop shop, an integrated platform that streamline the entire life cycle of AI developments from, say, data sets management to model deployment to agent orchestration, with all of the on-chain sort of interactions that the SIWA testnet gonna ensure. And we have all also AI marketplace that's gonna coming up. Um, in the next month and two, which is a decentralized marketplace, allow anyone to buy and sell the license access of models, data sets, and agents. And there's very organic interactions among these three um, products on the application layer. For example, think about if you're a developer coming to the AI developer platform and you're thinking about orchestrate an agent, you might need to use go to the marketplace to purchase some data set access, or you don't find anything you like, you might create a project on the data service platform and get the data sets you want. And now you come back to the rest of the user journey for your agent orchestration. You grab the data you have, you grab models maybe also from marketplace, or you upload the models from your local to your vault, and then you compile the agent. Now with the agent compile, you can specify what the ownership composition looks like, what the revenue sharing mechanisms should be running, and then everything set up. You can post this, you can publish this on the marketplace, start monetizing your agent. So that's how all this like a platform products connects together. And of course, we are really also trying to welcome our ecosystem partners and participants to help build more of the important tools and applications that fit into this whole user journey, right? For example, we need AI power apps and agents that can create autonomous agents to perform various tasks to help make decision, enhance the user experiences. We also need more foundational toolkits in this whole user journey that can allow very efficient and productive developments of AI systems across the entire application layer. And down the road, we also want DeFi apps that power by our access protocols to unlock some new financial primitives on the application layer. So really, this is consists of some of the flagship applications that we want to bootstrap the ecosystem, but more importantly, welcoming everyone to come to build tools, applications, agents, DeFi infrastructures to power the entire ecosystem. Yeah,
Awesome.
giving back to Jules.
Yeah, thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
You bring up a really good point too that I think might have gone over some people's heads. Essentially, one thing that you kind of hinted at is that the entire platform is chain agnostic by design, right? Anybody on any chain, Web 2 or Web 3, can build using our platform. What exactly? Why was this important when you were developing the platform, and what does this mean in practice for AI development?
Yeah, that's a great question, and really something I want to highlight with today's opportunity, right? So, um, I think what that means technically, just to clarify that first, is that developers coming to the Sahara platform, they can build on any layer ones or off-chain like Web2 sort of context by just plugging our APIs, coding our protocols, right? Because I think the context today is like we have a lot of great developers sitting on different chain ecosystems, right? We have friends coming from the EVN chains, friends coming from Solana, friends coming from other layer two, and they have built great agents and assets already, and they're trying to improve those things further. The in the process of improving those AI access, they might want to get newer version of data sets from Sahara's AI marketplace. They want to use the better agent orchestration tool that's on our AI developer platform. They might need to create new data sets using our data sets platform. And we don't want to give them any hustle of doing that. Right. So we are basically providing the best user experiences possible to just help them streamline the whole life cycle of getting the right AI resources and access, using the tools to do better AI development, and trying to make this process as frictionless as possible. And therefore, at the high level, it's called chain agnostics. But at the user experience and UI level, we don't want to um, let them slow down by interacting with Sahara blockchains or the accept protocols, right? Really, it's achieving the interoperabilities uh, to expand the access and lower the adoption frictions. And the general principle is like we are not trying to compete with other layer ones or even the Web2 AI infrastructure tools, and we are trying to support the developers everywhere.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. Speaking of supporting developers, we launched with 40 new partners across, AI, Web3, cloud research, when we did our SIWA launch, which was really, really exciting. And if you're building something really cool and you want to join our ecosystem and you want to build with us, we've launched the Sahara Incubator, right, to take your projects from essentially MVP to market. Can you speak a little bit more about what we're doing with the incubator and what it offers for developers and founders?
Yes, simply put, the incubator program supports all the early stage AI projects that building on the Sahara ecosystem, especially the Sahara infrastructure layers using our network, using our accept protocols, using our execution protocols, and using our flagship products on the application layer. And the concrete way that we provide such support is through go-to-market sort of a consolation supports. Engineering helps with our great designers, engineers, smart contract engineers, machine learning engineers on the AI side. We can help you tackle some of the blockers in your product building process. We can give a lot of mentoring about both go to market and also about the product management, product developments, and also ideations about making this product a better product market fit. And also having access to our great array of investors that we been getting support from, so then they can also give you lots of insights about the market, about the products. So we are closing the applications of the incubation programs in roughly a month, I think, right? So make sure you apply if interested in this opportunity. I think the website is saharalabs.ai slash incubator.
Excellent. Thank you, Sean. And I don't know, we are closing in on time, so I want to make sure we save room for audience questions. If you have any questions, now is the time to add them in the comments. We'll try to get to as many as we can before we wrap up. I know there's quite a bit at the moment, so let me consolidate some of these, refresh my page, and see what we have. Lots of congratulations. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. We really appreciate it. We've been we've all been building for quite a while, so this is definitely something we're really excited to finally show you guys. Um, Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. We have F-Torx saying, I'm a little confused. Do we understand who will use this data? Who am I trying to provide useful data for? Developers, users, your AI system?
I can take this one. Um, I would say developers definitely as a major user groups for consuming the data sets, right? Where they're coming from is basically they have a brilliant ideas about what kind of AI or agents they are trying to build, and they don't have access to the best data sets for powering that AI yet. So they will basically come to the data service platform. They will initiate a project, and anyone can see that project's description. They can try on the qualification tasks. They pass exams. They are qualifying to perform the official tasks. They become part of the contributors of the data set, and down the road, part of the shareholders of the data sets. And what's really excited about Sahara is that when the data sets continuously to be used by hundreds, thousands of developers in all these like hundreds, thousands of different AI building process, you will also become the shareholder of those AIs and those agents. And when those agents and AI start monetizing and getting revenue flows, you will get your own share down the road as well. So that's kind of the ultimate sort of monetization, equitable and transparent monetization flows that we are achieving, and we are doing very hard work to make that happen on our product.
Thank you, Sean. I think that answered kind of like a few different questions that people had. So we have a lot that are asking if users will get paid for providing data sets, right? And comparing it to data services platform and how you provide, you complete data tasks and you get rewarded for it, right? Can you speak a little to the difference between providing a data set, uploading a data set through our developer platform and completing data tasks on data services platform?
Yeah, yeah, I would start first, but James and Jesse, feel free to chime in if I miss anything, right? 'Cause we're seeing multiple ways of people monetizing their knowledge and efforts through data. One uh, prominent route is completing data projects on the data service platform. And in that process, just like what we already have for the whitelist users, people get pay for a certain rate for each data points they complete. And on top of that, they may also get revenue shares from that data sets that's continuously gonna help them monetize their effort. So that's on the data service platform side. Now, on the other route, you can upload what you think is a valuable data sets through the current SIWA open testnet user journey. And those data sets down the road uh, will be examined in an automatic way with the help of AI and other mechanisms to be qualified to be published on our AI marketplace down the road. And once your data sets become visible on AI marketplace, there will be other developers or users come to explore your data sets and purchase the license access of your data set. And that's another milestone where you can monetize your data sets in several different ways. So we have both data service platform and AI marketplace that allows you to monetize your data.
Thank you. Any other comments, James or Jesse?
No, I think Sean said it pretty well.
Yeah, it was well said. Another question that we keep getting is SIWA testnet just for developers? How can non-technical community members interact with SIWA?
I will let Jesse speak first. I don't want to say too much.
Yeah, that's a good question. Definitely, it's focused on developers, but you don't have to be a developer to start to interact with SIWA. So our development portal, much like the data services platform, is geared towards an audience that's interested in AI. So anybody can really go in and upload a data set and mint an ownership NFT. You don't necessarily have to be a developer to do that. We've created a really smooth user experience. So we've abstracted a lot of the complexity away from that. Um, and even once we do have, more of the development tools built into the AI platform, things like our agent builder are going to be extremely intuitive, using very natural interfaces to basically create your own agents. So we're trying to make this as accessible as we can to semi-technical and non-technical audience. But that said, SIWA testnet, once it goes open source and the protocols are fully open source, um, you know, we're going to be really focused on bringing on more Web3 developers to start to interact and build on top of our blockchain protocols and our Solidity smart contracts. So there will be sort of, a focus there for a more, technical developer community. But short answer is, Siwa Open Testnet is open for everyone to basically go in and tokenize their data. You don't have to be a developer, I think, to use it. But we will be releasing more developer focused tooling in the near future.
Yeah, very well said. I'd even say, even if you're just AI curious, right, and you have a data set, like, this is a great opportunity to just experiment and see if and just see how all of this works, right? Like, behind the scenes, like, what does tokenizing a data set even mean? What does that look like? Like, experiment, touch it. This could be your first step into a more technical experience with AI. Also, data services platform, that's technically on top of SIWA as well. So we're opening that up to the public starting Monday, right? So that's another way to continue to interact with all of our protocols. Let's see, more questions here. Lots of compliments. Thank you, everybody. If you have any additional questions, make sure you add them to the comments now before we wrap up. Um, We have a question here. How does Sahara AI ensure data contributors actually receive fair credit and compensation in their decentralized AI development?
Yeah, I can start first. Justin, James, feel free to chime in. This could be a longer answers, but simply put, right? We are recording everyone's contributions on data service platform on chain. So if you are a participant in finishing a data set, let's say you finish 5% of the data points in the data sets, then imagine you are taking a proportional percentage of the revenue share of that data sets when the data sets is going to be listed on the AI marketplace down the road, and other people purchase licensing access to the data sets, either in a pay-as-go manner or as like a monthly subscription manner. You the data set got paid means you also got paid. So that's like a one bit route of monetization. Everything is recorded on chain. Everyone can audit. It's transparent. What we need is just to set the rule when you're starting configuring the licensing um, and the revenue sharing mechanisms of the data sets. And those features are coming up in the next release. So stay tuned.
Okay, another question we have. Are there any mechanisms in place to discourage uploading low quality or scraped data?
James, do you want to take this one?
Yes. So eventually there will be. At this point, it's a lot of human moderators, but eventually at some point we will have, we'll both be using AI and then traditional moderation techniques. So contributor scoring, moderation tools, reputation systems will be added to the platform. But you're right, these are issues that are also prevalent in Web 2. And we're going to use a combination of ecosystem maturity things like the reputation and moderation and contributor scoring in combination with AI tools as time goes on.
Excellent. And I think that puts us at time. We will have additional AMAs throughout the week, so keep a lookout for those. I'll be posting more information about that later today. And thank you everybody else who has come. Do you have any last words, Sean, James, Jesse? Any shout outs you want to do?
Yeah, definitely shout out to the team for really making this launch happens. It's a collective effort from our AI team, our blockchain team, and our marketing team for sure, ecosystem teams. And I also want to really express my appreciations to our users, our communities, and this is one of the first opportunities that we really open up our product to the public. Anyone can experience what it means by claiming the ownerships of your data assets on our SIWA testnet and also familiarize with some of the features that's coming up on our AI developer platforms. So hope to see you giving more feedbacks and comments about our products and really excited to have you in our ecosystem.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. We weren't able to answer all the questions today, but I will go in and I'll respond to a few of them as well throughout the day that I see. So if you have any other questions, just comment them below and I will get to them. If you haven't already, definitely visit our developer platform. It's all over our website, but it's app.saharalabs.ai/developer-platform. We might come up with a easier way to access that, but that's what it is right now. And then just upload your data set, mint your on-chain ownership token, and be a part of shaping the next phase of decentralized AI infrastructure. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.